Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 25 in season number 6 of the NRLOA Chick-fil-A Cup Series. We are here at the Phoenix International Raceway for the Castrol 500-kilometer race, 63 laps around this 1-mile oval in Avondale, Arizona. And it is the next to last race of the season and the race that will determine the final 4 drivers that will battle for a championship at the Homestead Miami Speedway on Saturday morning in the Chick-fil-A 500. In the point standings, this is how they line up. Trey Barto, 41 points ahead of the cutoff coming into today's event. He, along with Daniel Bouchard, who is 39 points ahead of the cutoff, are virtual locks into the final round of the chase. But what we really want to focus on are the bottom 6 drivers. Elijah Gordon, 12 points ahead of the cutoff. But then you got Isaac Nichols, only 4 points ahead. And Blaine Keys, Al Legacy, 4 points behind each. And Marty Johnson, Matt Dalio, only 7 points behind the cutoff coming into today's event. All 8 of these drivers have a very high legitimate chance at making it onto the final 4 here today. And if any of them win, they are going to be battling for a championship on Saturday morning for the Chick-fil-A 500. Of course, right now we got one more race before we determine that champion, and we got to see who it's going to be battling for the championship here today at the Phoenix International Raceway. Anyways, it is the next to last race of the season. The season will be ending on Saturday, and the last time got a race shorter than 500 miles. Even though this is 500 kilometers, it's not 500 miles, obviously. I'm trying to stretch it out here so we can get the starting command in a good time, and I think it's about time to do so. So let's head trackside to get these engines fired for the Castrol 500K at the Phoenix International Raceway.
Drivers, start your engines!
And a fantastic command there to fire these guys up for the next to last race of the season, the penultimate stop in Season 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Adam Lewis in the number 22 will start on the pole position. Alongside him, the number 3 of NRLOA car is still trying to grab his first career win on Napa Fan. We got Ryan Madden and Garrett Zenor. Zenor had that heartbreaker at the Rockingham Motor Speedway last Saturday. Was leading late in the going, but had to come down the pit lane for service because of an issue on his race car. He would have won the race if he did not have to come down the pit lane. Stuart Cratton and Colin Driver in row number 3. We got Zachary Fitzwater and our highest chase driver in the field, Marty Johnson, who is 7 points behind the cutoff coming into today's event. So number 32 is definitely got to watch out for. He won the Napa Truck Series race here last year, so he knows how to get it done at this racetrack. Just going to have to see what he can do here today. Alexander Rowe, our last winner, alongside Anthony Lopez. Take a look and find our other chase competitors. There's Daniel Bouchard, 39 points ahead of the cutoff. Al Legacy, 4 points behind. We got Elijah Gordon, 12 points ahead. Matt Dalio and Blaine Keys, they're both behind the cutoff. 4 points for Blaine Keys and 7 points for Matt Dalio. There's Isaac Nichols, only 4 points ahead of the cutoff. And there's Trey Barto, the points leader, 41 points ahead of the cutoff. So even with a very low finish, he's going to have a very good chance at making it on to the final 4. It's going to be a great race. 63 laps. We're green flag racing in the desert. Fantastic battle at the line. The number 22 of Adam Lewis on the outside lane will lead lap number 1. And look at the way these guys are fanning out off the corner, almost going 3 wide. And they came close to crashing that first lap there, but we stay green. Number 77, Ryan Madden out front. Here comes Garrett Zenor. And in this chase, he has had a lot of heartbreak. He almost won Bristol. Came down the pit lane with a few laps to go. Almost won the Rockingham Motor Speedway on Saturday. But he had to come down while leading late in the going. Some contact back in here. They're 3 wide off the corner as Stuart Gratton goes to the inside of Colin Driver and chase driver Marty Johnson. Now, the way they're currently running, I believe Marty Johnson would make his way into the Final Four. However, we have a caution on the racetrack, so right now things might be a little different. And no, none of the chase drivers were involved. I was thinking we might have had some chase drivers involved, so that's why I said that. Ricky Stevenson and John Arndt with damage, and I believe this occurred entering turn number 3. Garrett Sinor is the leader in the number 6. And he will lead the field of the green flag when we restart here at the Phoenix International Raceway. This racetrack is an interesting one. Sometimes we can go green flag for quite some time, but other times it's like the Rockingham Motor Speedway where they're crashing practically every lap. So it's going to be an interesting race here today with all these cautions that we may have or may not have, and that's going to definitely play in the strategy. Some guys expecting cautions to come out, and that might be why they're staying out on the racetrack possibly. And other guys coming down. Ryan Madden, the first guy down the pit lane. I believe Daniel Bouchard is staying out, and this is something I think he's done quite a few times this season. I think he did it at the Rockingham Motor Speedway on Saturday, and look at where he is now in the points. 39 points ahead of the cutoff. Now Bouchard and Barto, especially in this round, of course, they've been the 2 most consistent drivers, but especially Bouchard throughout the whole season. He's just done a very good job for this Josh Crashed-owned team. And number 11 with a good chance of winning the championship. He's my pick to win it, honestly. He really is. Got a good chance of doing so. And Isaac Nichols, you know, Nichols is only 4 points out of the cutoff, but the way they were running before that caution came out, he was going to be behind the cutoff in points with Marty Johnson having the good run he was having. So the 83 looking for some strategy and staying out right there. I believe they might be the only chase drivers who stayed out. I think the rest of these guys might have come off the pit lane possibly. I could be wrong, but you see Al Agassi and Blaine Keys back in here. He'll be midway through the pack when we restart. Anyways, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first caution here in the Castrol 500K with John Arndt and Ricky Stevenson. They were 3 wide off of the dog leg down the backstretch, and they just kind of squeeze into each other. You see Chris Skinlart in between Ricky Stevenson and John Arndt. And the number 38, not too fortunate in that situation, in the outside wall rather significantly for the number 38. Trey Barto was almost involved in this one, but remember, Barto is 41 points ahead of the cutoff. He's not exactly locked quite yet, but I would be surprised if I would be shocked if he did not make it into the Final Four. So I really don't see him or Daniel Bouchard having any issue today, and that's going to make it easier for me to actually get a grip of how this whole points layout is going to occur at the end of the race. So hopefully it won't be too much confusion at the end of the race when we're figuring out the top 4 drivers. But Stevenson and Arndt both in the outside wall hard. An unfortunate day for those drivers here at Phoenix. Play this in real time following Ricky Stevenson in the 38. And Chris Skinlart just did not have anywhere to go. I think Stevenson moved up a little bit, and John Arndt was to Skinlart's outside. And the 21 had nowhere to go, so that is the result. Not a major accident. We've seen a lot worse here at Phoenix before, and hopefully that might be all we see here today at the almost said it was the Rockingham Motor Speedway. Gotta get my head out of that country for a second. We're in the United States again at the Phoenix International Raceway. But I believe the 38 might be out of the race because of his front end damage. John Arndt, however, may be able to continue in the number 24. We're just going to have to see when we restart. Anyways, Garrett Sinor stayed out on the racetrack, so he's going to stay in the lead. Let's see what he does on the restart here in the Castrol 500K after this commercial break.
Just get home from school, you got nothing to do? Well then, turn on your computer and listen to the NRLOA podcast, where we bring you up to date on all things all stock car racing and NASCAR, and on your local short track near you. We'll have things such as Modified and Mock Series Corner, followed by PCS Rated WRLA, and so much more.
I think Elliott Sadler can probably win the race.
It's the NRLOA podcast every Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com/MaxTheHedgehog77.
Back here in Phoenix, Arizona at the Phoenix International Raceway. Race 25 in Season 6 of the NRLOA Chick-fil-A Cup Series. The penultimate race here in Season number 6. And at the end of today, we will know our final 4 drivers battling for a championship at Homestead on Saturday. Garrett Sinor is the leader in the number 6, followed by Noah Kars and Reagan Whitlock. All 3 of these guys would love to get a win before this season ends. Daniel Bouchard, the highest chase driver, running in 4th. And the 83 of Isaac Nichols, another chase driver, he stayed out. Right now running in the 5th position. A lot of strong drivers running up front right now. Let's see what happens. We're back to green flag racing in the Castrol 500K. Noah Kars in the 3. He's going to look to the inside of Garrett Sinor. Sinor's going to slip up the racetrack in the 3. Going to side draft him through the dogleg and get the advantage. So Noah Kars to the point here at Phoenix. Here comes Reagan Whitlock in the 78. And Garrett Sinor might get a run on the outside lane here. And this is a great racetrack for close side-by-side racing. As you can tell, Sinor, he was on that outside lane. We thought he was going to lose the lead. No siree. Got the lead for lap number 8 in this race. And they're 3 wide for the lead right now as Whitlock goes to the inside of Kars and Sinor. They're bumping off each other, entering turn number 3. Reagan Whitlock with the advantage right now in the 78. But he's not going to clear the number 3 of Noah Kars, who will lead lap number 9 here in the Castrol 500K. Great run for Daniel Bouchard right now. He's still running in the 4th position. Isaac Nichols running in the 5th position in the 83. Check in on some other chase drivers. There's Al Legacy, and he's a guy we really haven't talked about too much this season. But the number 34, only 4 points behind the cutoff. However, the guy who he's trying to surpass in that cutoff is Isaac Nichols, and he's currently ahead of him on the racetrack. So that means that he would have to finish ahead of Elijah Gordon, and Gordon is only a few positions behind him. So right now, I do believe that the points remain the same as they were when we came in, the way they are currently running. So at this moment, the 4 drivers in would be Trey Barto, Daniel Bouchard, Elijah Gordon, and Isaac Nichols. Reagan Whitlock to the inside of Noah Kars, and he's going to take the lead away. Lap 11 to the 78. And here comes Daniel Bouchard for the 3rd position on Garrett Sinor. The number 11 is going to try to get around him, but they're going to remain side by side through the dogleg. I really like this racetrack. The racing is very good, and these guys, they can pass, but they can remain side by side as well, and that outside lane can work. And you know what? We're going to see a lot of that when we head to Homestead on Saturday, and that's what's going to make this finale race extra special. It's going to be the last Chick-fil-A 500 under this format, because next season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, we will be going to a strict points championship. So this is going to be the final 4 race, but it's going to be a memorable one on Saturday. Noah Kars trying to win the race back to the line as the caution has come back out here at Phoenix, but Reagan Whitlock will win the race back in the 78, and we'll see what he does under this caution. It looks like the 43 of Jesse Turner has gone around, but it looks to be a minor incident on the racetrack, which is fortunate. But unfortunately for Jesse Turner, he did get a win at Chicagoland earlier this season, but it has been a tough season for this number 43 team, and they're hoping to turn it around for Season 7. I know Jesse Turner's going to be somewhere for Season 7, and it might not necessarily be the 43 car, because we're going to have custom cars next year, and not sure if anybody's going to make a custom 43. Anyways, everybody's going to come down the pit lane this time. Reagan Whitlock in the 78, trying to grab his first win in over almost 5 seasons. Almost 5 seasons. It was the finale in Season 1, the only win Reagan Whitlock has in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. He's going to come down the pit lane first, lead everybody down. And I do not believe anybody stayed out, so this is going to work out for Isaac Nichols, or will he? Just had major contact with Matt Dalio on the pit lane. The number 83, he has damage to his race car, and this is exactly what Isaac Nichols did not need to happen. Daniel Bouchard won the race off the pit lane in the number 11. Nichols was second off, but The 83 gained some damage from Matt Dalio, and that's the second week in a row for Dalio, second race in a row for the 88, having contact on the pit lane. And Zachary Fitzwater also has contact, damage to his number 41 machine, but the number 80 to Matt Dalio torn up a little bit, I believe. And right now it's not looking too good for the 88 team. Of course, remember what happened at the Rockingham Motor Speedway on Saturday. He was going to get a better run than he did, but late in the going, he got spun around, and he finished kind of deep in the field. So he's still 7 points behind the cutoff. And the guy who is the cutoff is running second right now, and he had contact with him, but I believe Nichols is going to be okay in the number 83. Anyways, enough talking. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring up the second caution here in the Castrol 500K at Phoenix. We're only going to replay this once since it was a simple incident between Jesse Turner and Matt Tuck, the 43 getting clipped in the outside wall. They slid up the racetrack just a little bit, and Matt Tuck was to his outside. Turner's a lap down now, right now in last place. By the way, Ricky Stevenson and John Arndt are both still on the racetrack, and I believe they are both on the lead lap. So we did not check that on the last restart. But anyways, speaking of the restart, let's go ahead and see what happens on the second restart of the race here in the Castrol 500K. Daniel Bouchard, the leader here at Phoenix. Back here at the Phoenix International Raceway for the penultimate race in Season 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. The final 4 spots for that final race at Homestead on the line here today. And Daniel Bouchard, he's got a very, very, very good chance at being one of those final 4 drivers. And at this point, so does Isaac Nichols running second. Also a chase driver, and both these drivers are rookies as well. Keep in mind, a rookie driver has never won the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Championship before, with the exception of Season 1, if you really want to count it that way. But, you know, that was Season 1. But a true rookie has never won the championship in this series before. Bouchard and Nichols both would love to change that. Senor, Whitlock, and Cars top 5, and Turner on the inside lane there is going to slow everybody down. We saw the accident between Turner and Tuck there that last lap. And hopefully this number 43 will not majorly affect anything and not bring out another caution because of the trouble that he's going to bring to some of these drivers trying to get around them. A little bit of a log jam back in there, but looks like they're going to keep it clean for now. Bouchard's going to stay out front in the number 11. Isaac Nichols, and they're 3 wide for third between Noah Cars, Garrett Senor, and Reagan Whitlock. They seem to be handling 3 wide off of turn 2 very well, and if you see races at this racetrack in other series, usually you see a lot of carnage out of that corner, but we have not seen any here today, and both of our accidents have happened at different places on the racetrack. Excuse me there for getting all tongue-tied. Not sure what my problem is. I took a break from recording about, I say 5 days, I think, and I think it's helped. I think I feel more comfortable commentating right now. That lap was not good for me, but who cares? Bouchard's still out front, but here comes Noah Cars, and I believe this number 3 might have taken some fresh tires, while Bouchard might have gone fuel only. We were not paying attention, but Bouchard was not the leader when they came down the pit lane, and he was the leader off the pit lane, so that's going to lead me to believe that he went with a little strategy and took fuel only possibly, and Noah Cars drives around him in the number 3. And Noah Cars is out front right now for Richard Childress Racing, and he's going to win the race back to the line as another accident on the racetrack has occurred. And it might have been a little payback possibly between Turner and Tuck, because I see the 42 around. You see the smoke there exiting the dog leg, and the 42 is the last guy in line, so that's going to lead me to believe that he was involved. You see Jesse Turner here in the 43, not too far ahead. So it could have been a little payback between those 2 drivers there. So 3 quick cautions, but none of the cautions we have seen here today have been major crashes, which is a good thing. So it's not necessarily a crash fest race, it's just a lot of cautions on the racetrack, and that's how Phoenix is. We're getting some decent green flag runs. It's not like it's every single lap. But the number 3 coming down the pit lane. Some guys staying out, and one guy, we haven't talked about him yet here today. That's Caleb Hoffman in the 14. His penultimate race of his career here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Of course, on Saturday, going to hang the helmet up in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series in his final Cup Series race in the Chick-fil-A 500. After that, he's probably going to be an owner of one of the custom teams in Season 7, so watch out for that. Blaine Key's going to play the strategy a little bit. He's going to go to third. Elijah Gordon, he's going to go to fourth. Both of those guys, Hendrick teammates. And I believe Matt Tuck might even stay out as well on the 42, so the cause of the caution most likely is going to... Actually, he's a lap down, so he's not really going to have any effect. But Noah Cars, I believe, won the race off the pit lane, and 6 guys ahead of him all stayed out. Jonathan King is the new leader in the number 33. And let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the third caution here in the Castrol 500K at Phoenix. So this accident was not involving Matt Tuck. He was already at the end of the field, probably because of damage to his race car from the prior incident with Jesse Turner. These guys trying to get around Jesse Turner. William Johnson a little too anxious, getting into him. Eli Bright going around, and Turner got into Hairgel Arvin Alonso. And Matt Dalio, a Chase driver, running into the 13. And Dalio's chances, they're really starting to fall fast. He's been in the Final Four the past 2 seasons. The opportunity is right there for him, but he might have just lost it right there because he hit the front end of his race car, and that's where the engine is. And if you damage the engine, just like Jesse Turner, you're going to have a tough time. And wasn't too major. We've seen a lot worse here at Phoenix. I've said that already, but still another caution here early on in the Castrol 500K. Replay this crash in real time. Following the 43 of Jesse Turner, William Johnson spinning him around into Eli Bright. And you just see what ensues there. A lot of guys avoided this one, and that could have been a lot worse than what it was, but thankfully, only a few drivers involved, and I don't think anybody's going to get fully knocked out in this one either, so good news there. But not good news for Matt Delio in the 88. A Chase driver came into this race 7 points behind the cutoff. It's not looking too good for the Hendrick Motorsports driver right now, but we still got 2/3 of this race left to go. Let's go ahead and see what happens on the restart after this commercial break here at the Phoenix International Raceway.
Honey, what are you doing?
Watching a cow.
Oh, what's it doing?
Impressions. When did we get a cow?
Back here at Phoenix, Jonathan King is the leader in the number 33 as he stayed out on the racetrack. Caleb Hoffman is next to last race of his career here on Napa Fan. Number 14 running second with a possible chance at stealing one last victory away before he hangs it up. Highest Chase driver in the field, Blaine Keys, came into this race 4 points behind the cutoff, and that cutoff is Isaac Nichols, and right now Keys is 4 positions ahead of the 83. So that's good news for the number 48. Elijah Gordon in the number 5, running 4th. If he gets a top 5, top 10 finish in this race, he's pretty much locked onto the Final Four, I think. And then Jordan Lopez rounds out the top 5, coming to the restart lap 26 of 63 here at Phoenix. Jonathan King gets the jump, and now we got 2 slow cars in this inside lane, and it was Jesse Turner the cause of the last one because these guys, they're really slow on the racetrack, and you have them holding up all these fast guys who want to get to the front. They just get a little impatient sometimes, and that's what we saw under that last caution. Anyways, Jonathan King will lead lap 26. Here comes Blaine Keys, and remember, if any of these Chase drivers win, they're locked on to the Final Four. But this is, like I said earlier on, it's going to be the last season with this championship format. So, next season, it's not going to be the case. But right now, that is the case, and these drivers know it for sure. Elijah Gordon trying to help his teammate there on the inside lane. Either that or he's just going to go 3 wide to the inside of him. Caleb Hoffman's going to hold on to the second position for now, but here comes Keys and Gordon to the inside. And as they battle 3 wide for the second position, Jonathan King in the number 33, trying to win his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series race. is trying to pull away. Gordon in the 5. He's 3 wide to the inside, but Hoffman's going to stay in the position and clear Blaine Keys off at turn 4. And this is a big one for Hoffman too, because he's only got a couple races left in his career here, and he would love to get another victory. He doesn't want to finish second. He wants to win. But so does Jonathan King. He wants to grab his first career victory. Elijah Gordon, Blaine Keys, they know if they win, they're on to the Final 4. They all want to win this race. It's tough to catch up to a guy here, but it's possible. And now Elijah Gordon's going to try to get to the inside of Hoffman for the second position, as Keys has aborted the 3-wide run for that position. Gordon trying to get to the inside here of Caleb Hoffman. He's going to get the run there in the number 5, and they're closing in on Jonathan King for the lead here. So Jonathan King not able to pull away as they run only double wide in single file for the second position. Hoffman closing in the 14, and I believe Caleb Hoffman's going to have a chance at Jonathan King for the lead here shortly. But King has led every single lap since the restart in the number 33. Caleb Hoffman running in the second position. He's going to try to dive to the inside. Not going to be able to do it quite yet. King's going to stay out front. But Hoffman, he is a veteran driver, a 6-season veteran of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. He has been in every single Chick-fil-A Cup Series race. And he's only got 2 more left in his career before he hangs it up. I've said it a lot, but you know what? This guy's a big deal. He's one of the all-time winningest drivers on Napa Fan, the all-time winningest driver in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series with 7 wins. He does not want to retire poorly at the end of his season, of his last season. He wants to end it with a bang, and he was in the chase. He got eliminated, but he wants one more. And right at the back of his race car, one more for Hoffman. He wants that to happen here today. Jonathan King trying to hold him off and doing a great job of it. And the Circle Sport team, Christian Master, the owner of this team, they were doing good in the owner's points earlier on this season. And I believe they kind of fell midway through in the owner's points, but they're trying to grab their first win of the season, and Jonathan King was able to get the run on the outside of Hoffman. Hoffman got a great run through that corner, was not able to pass the 33. And they remain single file, and these guys, they're bunching up now. Jay Jefferson, Jordan Lopez in the 17. They're all closing in, and I want to give a shout-out to Luke Rainey. Both of his cars right now running in the top 10. Great run for those guys. And hopefully, one of those guys might get the win here today for Luke Rainey. Of course, Garrett Sonora, he especially wants to get a win here today after what's happened to him so far in these chase races. You just see how difficult it is to pass later in a run. As these tires wear out, it just gets very hard to pass here. Elijah Gordon got to the inside of Hoffman, was not able to do so, and Jonathan King, he's still out front in the number 33. Remember, these guys, they stayed out on the racetrack, and they already had worn tires at the beginning of this green flag run, so that's why they're not passing too much right now. If they had fresh tires, they would be able to pass a little bit easier, but right now with these worn tires, it's just very difficult to successfully complete a pass. You got to have that grip on the inside lane to do it, and when your tires are worn, you just can't do it. You see the line these guys are running, kind of a middle line through the corners, and that's one of the best lines with worn tires. And Hoffman falling back a little bit from Jonathan King. Elijah Gordon trying to close back in for the second position. And Blaine Key still running here in the 4th position, running 4th, of course, in the number 48. Jay Jefferson, great run for him right now, running in the 5th position. Matt Tuck in the 42. I'm a little perplexed right now because he was falling back. He might have just been stuck behind Turner, and that might have been why he was going slow at the restart. But Matt Tuck's going as fast as everybody else, but he is a lap down. But a good thing here for today's race, all 40 drivers are still out on the racetrack. Every single one of them. The only 2 drivers a lap down right now are Matt Tuck and Jesse Turner. But all 40 drivers still on the racetrack. That might be a record here for the Phoenix International Raceway. We usually see a lot of huge crashes. We're not seeing that here today, and that's a great thing to see. Caleb Hoffman, he is closing back in on Jonathan King. And Elijah Gordon, Blaine Keys as well. They're all still here trying to get around this number 33, a single car team trying to grab the victory here today at Phoenix. And with this green flag run here, if they stay green flag racing, they're going to have green flag pit stops. But just as I say that, the caution flies for the 4th time, and King wins the race back to the line. Hoffman almost got him. Was not able to get that inside lane to work, and it looks like this happened with Jesse Turner again, and Trey Barto in the number 4 was involved. And, you know, this is the worst case scenario for him. I mean, he came into this race 41 points ahead. It would take a lot for Barto to get pushed out, but one of those things that needed to happen, if that were to occur, just happened. Barto, it looks like he is done for the day, and fortunately for him, at all those points at the beginning of this round, and I'm fairly sure that Barto is going to be okay, but after that, he might finish in the last position, and that is the absolute worst position you can possibly finish if you're Trey Barto. I mean, if you're anybody battling for the championship, that's the absolute worst place you can be. But especially for Barto, because there's only a few scenarios that could happen, very few scenarios that could happen for him to get pushed out. And one of them just happened, him finishing last. And most likely he will finish last here today, and he is right now 40th on the racetrack. So that's an unfortunate one for him there. And here we go. Off the pit lane. It's chase driver. Oh no, it's actually Garrett Sinor in the number 6. Garrett Sinor wins the race off the pit lane. He was so far ahead of everybody that I did not even notice him. So Sinor, Gordon, Colin Driver running 3rd, Caleb Hoffman, and Jonathan King. But Garrett Sinor now in the money position out front here at Phoenix in the number 6. And he is going to lead the field to the restart when we restart here at the Phoenix International Raceway. But anyways, Barto is getting back out there in the number 4. That's good news for him, trying to salvage as much as he can. And if he can beat out the number 6 and another driver with damage, Daniel Bouchard in the 11. And Bouchard's in the same situation as Barto, because he's 39 points out of the cutoff, almost guaranteed to make it in. But if these guys, they finish deep enough, they might not make it in. The 2 best drivers so far in this round with issues, and right now they're the last 2 drivers on the racetrack of the 8 chase drivers, so it could get very interesting here. It could get very, very interesting. Barto is back out there, though, only 2 laps down. He might stay there because I don't think he's going to be able to gain any more laps back because he's all the way at the end of the field right now. Bouchard in the 11's actually still on the lead lap, but he's 36th. And it's going to take a lot for him to get back to the lead. Anyways, let's see what happened to these drivers to bring out the 4th caution here in the Castrol 500K. So the number 4 of Trey Barto had an issue entering turn number 1 here. And even Daniel Bouchard, I think, had an issue, but he ended up fixing his issue going through the corner in the 11. You see the number 4, he kind of just slows down, almost like hits the brakes for no reason. There's nothing happening in front of the 4, and of course, it's Stuart Gratton that hits him. And it's only Trey Barto and Stuart Gratton who get involved. A couple of 6-season veterans of this series. And Barto in the outside wall there in the number 4. John Art coming very close to him, but no damage to the 24 at the end of this one. And Barto did get back out there on the racetrack, but he's going to be 40th and 2 laps down. An unfortunate one for the chase driver there. He's 41 points ahead of the cutoff. I just don't know. I mean, he's 41 points ahead. Let me tell you, the only position that can surpass him in the points, and I think it would need to be either Blaine Keys or Al Agassi to do this, too. They would need to win the race. So, as long as Blaine Keys and Al Agassi don't win, Trey Barto will be just fine. That's it. As long as Keys and Agassi don't win here today, Barto will be just fine. So yeah, it's just a very slim chance he will not make it into the Final Four, but the worst possible thing happened to him. He's going to most likely finish in last place. So it's a very interesting scenario here at the Phoenix International Raceway with this Chase Championship. Going to replay this in real time, and the number 4 of Trey Barto. You see it here. slows down, and Grattan nowhere to go in the 37, right into him, and that might end Grattan's day. And if it does end Grattan's day, that's going to be one more position for Trey Barto. So he needs as much as he possibly can get. Just as much as he possibly can get. Because if Keys or Legacy win, they're going to get 44 points. If Barto gets 2 points towards the championship, I think Keys and Legacy would still surpass them in the points. So it's just going to come down to each and every last point, I think. But, I mean, it would need to be Elijah Gordon surpassing Trey Barto in the points as well. Isaac Nichols would need to do the same. Daniel Bouchard, they all need to surpass Barto as well. So there's just so many scenarios that could happen, actually that need to happen, for Barto to get pushed out. So if I'm Trey Barto, I really would not worry. I just don't think it's all going to happen at once. But we've seen crazier things, and it's going to get crazier for this restart. So after this commercial break, let's go ahead and see what happens see what happens on the restart. We already saw what happened to bring out the caution. Let's see what happens on the restart. Garrett Sinor is going to lead the field to the green flag when we return to the Castrol 500K. Back here at Phoenix, ready for what will hopefully be the last restart of the day, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. We got 4 lap-down cars in the inside lane here. And one of those guys is Trey Barto in the number 4, who I believe is still 2 laps down. Anyways, it is Garrett Sinor out front. Elijah Gordon, the highest chase driver in the field. Colin Driver, Caleb Hoffman, his penultimate race of his career. And Jonathan King trying to grab his first career win in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Same with Colin Driver. Driver did really good at the Rockingham Motor Speedway on Saturday. Let's see if he does the same here today. He's got a great run going for him right now. The number 4 is still 2 laps down, but it's Garrett Sinor leading the field in the number 6. Elijah Gordon doing a very good job right now. He's doing what he needs to do, get that top 10 finish. If he gets it, he's most likely going to be in the final 4, and all 4 of these drivers getting stuck behind Stuart Grattan. They better be careful coming off the corner here. Grattan is very slow. Same with Jesse Turner. I think Trey Barto might be a little bit faster than these guys, because Barto hit at the back end of his race car, not where the engine is. Hopefully they'll be able to figure it all out. Grattan sliding up a little bit there in the 37, but I think we're going to be good for now. They have been passed by most of the field. And for the lead, Elijah Gordon to the inside of Garrett Sinor. And the number 5 has cleared him for the lead here at Phoenix. So Elijah Gordon, a chase driver, trying to grab as much momentum as possible heading into the finale race. If he gets this win here today, he's going to be one of those 4 drivers battling for a championship in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series season number 6. But Caleb Hoffman, he's closing in fast here. I think Sinor did not take tires on that pit stop, but Elijah Gordon did. Jonathan King trying to get around Caleb Hoffman. He's got the opportunity to do so, and I think he's going to do it. So King trying to get around Hoffman, and not going to quite happen yet, but King's going to get to the inside of Sinor. The caution is back out for the 5th time today. Elijah Gordon has won the race back to the line. And there's one of the chase drivers that we actually have not mentioned yet in this race. That's Marty Johnson in the 32. He was 7 points behind the cutoff coming into today's event. It looks like he might have knocked out Stuart Grattan. And I think this was a result of Grattan being very slow on the racetrack. Zachary Fitzwater in the 41 is done. And this is just better news for Trey Barto, because the more guys that get knocked out, the higher up he will finish in this race. He is still out there on the racetrack, and he's going to salvage some points. And if he gets 36th in this race, he's good to go. He does not have anything to worry about. But that is a tough one for Marty Johnson. We have not focused on him too much since he has not been running up front in this race. But Johnson is not going to be part of the Final 4 after this, because he was 7 points behind coming into today's event. And it looks like Stuart Grattan's going to still be out there on the racetrack, so we might get another caution at the end of this one. A lot of cautions here today at Phoenix. Just the nature of this racetrack. I'm not really a fan of the frequent caution races, but it's not been too bad here today. I mean, it could be a lot worse. It really could be. Marty Johnson, his day is done. His championship hopes are done in the number 32. Went winless this season here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Season 6, but it's been a really good season for Michael Kelly and this Go Fast Racing team. I believe everybody stayed out on the racetrack, so it's a race from now. as these guys do not have to come down for fuel anymore. They're good to go to the end of the race. Elijah Gordon, the leader. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the 5th caution here in the Castrol 500K. Well, it's the slow cars again. If it were not for the slow cars in this race, we probably have fewer cautions. But Jesse Turner and Stuart Graham, they're both very slow on the racetrack. And back in here, this is huge. Isaac Nichols in the 83 and Marty Johnson in the 32. Now, Johnson, after this one, we know he's going to be out. But look at what happens to Isaac Nichols here. You think he's going to avoid it, but Stuart Gratton comes back down as he hit the outside wall right into the 83. That is going to majorly affect him. He was only 4 points ahead of the cutoff. Al Legacy is way out ahead of him right now in the 34. So right now, Legacy is in the top 4 in points. We also got Keys and Dalio still out there, but Keys and Dalio, Keys is 30th, Dalio is 32nd after this one. You see him quite deep in the field. And Stuart Gretton, a really tough day for him. Marty Johnson is unfortunately done. We know that he is out. We know that he does not have a chance. And Zachary Fitzwater, the Kansas winner, also torn up in the 41. Very tough break for those guys. Their last winner, Alexander Rowe, also with damage in the 27. And this is where it gets interesting because that last position, I mean, I really think you got Elijah Gordon leading this race. Trey Barto Bouchard, he's got so many points anyway. This last position, with Nichols out, or Nichols is not out quite yet, but with Nichols getting involved in that crash, it's going to probably be between Legacy, Keys, and Dalio, and it's going to be a good race for that final position in that final 4. Let me tell you that, a championship on the line for these guys. They're going to be battling hard for it. And we're going to follow with the 37. And we're actually just going to follow back in here with Nichols and Marty Johnson. You see what happens to Johnson there. And Nichols also involved in the 83. And I think the 32 got hit by Zachary Fitzwater. And I think that's what ended the 32's night. A tough break for him. And that's going to be the end of Marty Johnson's run for the championship. But right now, I mean, you got Isaac Nichols involved in this crash. And that is exactly what he did not need. We really weren't focusing there on those back few positions. But we should have been. And we're going to now on the next restart, but Nichols only 4 points ahead of the cutoff. Blaine Keys, who was only 4 points behind, is ahead of him, and so is Al Legacy, and they're ahead by more than 4 positions. Excuse me there. But Legacy, he's in the position right now to get that last transfer spot onto the final 4. I have a big feeling that it's probably going to be this front row racing driver. Because you see Blaine Keys, he's quite a ways behind the 34, and same with Matt Dalio. Now Dalio, he's 7 points behind Isaac Nichols, while Keys and Legacy are both 4 points behind. So it's probably going to be between Keys and Legacy for the final position. And Legacy is way out ahead, but we still got a little ways to go in this race, and who knows what it's going to be once the checkered flag flies here at Phoenix. Anyways, let's go ahead and get to the restart. Elijah Gordon leading the field in the number 5. Let's see what he does right now. Back here at Phoenix, Elijah Gordon leads the field in the number 5. And you see Trey Barto, I don't think he's going to have too much of an issue anymore in the number 4 as he is 38th. Thought more guys were going to get knocked out at the end of that one, but it turns out that only Fitzwater and Johnson got knocked out. But that's 2 more positions for Barto nonetheless. And I really don't think Keys or Legacy will win today's race, so Barto should be good to go. And same with Elijah Gordon, who's leading this race right now. 12 points out of the cutoff coming into today's event. And he's in that good position. King, Sinor, Hoffman, and Jefferson behind him. Now, for the first time today, these 2 guys in the inside lane, they're fast. You see Turner and Gratton, they slow down, but Barto and Tuck, they're just as fast as Elijah Gordon. And in the wall goes Elijah Gordon in the 5. Trey Barto around in the 4. They keep on going. And around goes Daniel McMillan in a big crash, entering turn number 3. Blaine Keys, Matt Delio in the 88 involved. Ricky Stevenson, Derek Hamill in the 7. Ace Garcia. Oh my goodness gracious. Elijah Gordon was leading this race. And Trey Barto got into him. pretty much every chase driver got involved who was not involved in something prior, got involved in that crash, and now they're starting to pile up again on the cooldown lap. That just changed everything. The leader is now Jonathan King in the number 33. Right behind him, it's Caleb Hoffman in the 14. Jefferson, Driver, Cars, Madden, Cody Sill, Reagan Whitlock, and look at this, Al Lagacy, 9th. That's exactly where he wants to be in that number 34. Sinor was damaged in that one. So was Elijah Gordon. Now for Gordon, he's 15th. Oh boy, that's gonna be a tough one. I think he's still gonna be good because, I mean, it depends. You know, he might fall back on this next restart here because he has a lot of damage to his race car. And here's another thing I would like to point out. We're gonna be within 10 laps to go for this next restart. They're not going to go to the inside. Jesse Turner, Stuart Gratton, they're going to hold up everybody behind them. So this win's going to be between those 5 guys, those top 5 you see on your screen. King, Hoffman, Jefferson, Driver, and Cars. Nobody behind them is going to have a chance, I don't think, because you got Jesse Turner, he's slow. Same with Stuart Gratton. They're going to slow everybody else down. Lagacy, I think even Lagacy has some damage in the number 34, so pretty much every chase driver here today has had some sort of damage after that accident. Blaine Key's torn up a little bit. I saw Matt Dalio with damage in the 88, and I think Dalio's done. And it just did not work out for Dalio. Of course, he was lowest in the points coming into the chase. But it's not going to be another championship for the 6-time Chick-fil-A Cup Series winner. As for the other chase drivers, you see Bouchard there in the 11. He's deep in the field right now, running in... actually, he's not as deep as I thought he was, 25th right now. And after all that, Trey Barto gained another position. He's 37th. I mean, Barto and Bouchard, they're in. We're just going to say that right now, that they're both in. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Isaac Nichols is currently 24th. Blaine Keys is 21st. Al Lagacy is 9th. And Lagacy would take it between those 3 drivers right there. Gordon is still in. So the way they are currently running, it would be Lagacy, Gordon, Barto, and Bouchard, the final 4. But that's us right now. We still got one more restart to go. Let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the 6th caution here today at the Phoenix International Raceway. And at this point, Trey Barto really has no need to go after Elijah Gordon like this, but he's trying to get back, or get one of his laps back so he can salvage as many points as he can, but he got into Elijah Gordon there, and if Elijah Gordon does not make it into the Final 4, I can tell you he is not going to be happy, because that's another chase driver who was multiple laps down, putting him in the wall. Behind these guys, or actually, yeah, behind these guys, that's where they slowed up. They're trying to avoid Trey Barto, who slowed down after the accident. And you see the 95 of Daniel McMillan get spun. Sinor and Anthony Lopez got into each other there, and they just pile up. Eli Bright into Ace Garcia very hard. You're going to see the 18 do fit. I think he hit McMillan. Matt Dalio right into do fit. Derek Hamill, Alonso went around. Alexander O with damage, and even Isaac Nichols got damage in this one as well in the 83. Ricky Stevenson, Daniel Bouchard in the 11. You know, I was saying, you know, like, we see big crashes here at Phoenix a lot, but we haven't really seen many today. Well, we just saw it here. Cameron Garlington, the Daytona 500 champion. Alonso. Just a very unfortunate accident there. And a lot of these chase drivers involved, that's just going to majorly shake up this championship. Replay this one in real time following Elijah Gordon in the number 5. He gained a lot of damage after hitting that wall. They're all trying to avoid Barto, and they just can't do it. Back in there, a lot of carnage. It's kind of hard to get to all of it in real time, but you see what happens, and a lot of chase drivers involved in this one. Isaac Nichols, Matt Dalio. I mean, Dalio, he's probably done. I don't think he's going to have a chance, but Nichols still has a shot, I think, in the 83. Just a slim chance. Same with Blaine Keys. He had damage in this one. And Al Legacy in the number 34, because I believe he's running 9th right now in that front row motorsports machine. Brad Stover, the owner of this team. Nick Smith owns Daniel McMillan's Levine Family Racing team. But Brad Stover, the owner of Front Row Motorsports, they started out the season very strong in the owner standings. But they may get a Drivers' Championship with Al Legacy, because I think he's got a good chance of making it on to the Final Four. Anyways, we gotta see who wins this race, and there's Caleb Hoffman right there running 2nd. His next to last race of his career, it could be a victory for him here today at Phoenix. And if he were to win, I believe it would be win number 19 of his career, I think. Pretty sure. And he would become the all-time winningest driver on Napa Fan. Retiring as the all-time winningest driver on Napa Fan. Retiring up top. How about that if Hoffman were able to do it? Anyways, let's get to this restart. Well, hopefully will be the last restart of the day. And Jonathan King leads the field in number 33. Who's going to win and who's going to be in the Final Four in the Castrol 500K? Back here at Phoenix, ready to restart late in the going. It's going to be lap 56 of 63. It's going to be 8 laps to go until the checkered flag flies here at Phoenix. So if they race a few laps and the caution comes out, that's going to do it. Jonathan King, Caleb Hoffman, one of his final races here on Napa Fan. It could be a victory here today. Jay Jefferson, Colin Driver, and Noah Carr's the top 5. And then the chase drivers. Al Legacy, the highest chase driver right now, running 9th. Exactly what he needs, only 4 points behind the cutoff. You got Trey Barto a couple of laps down there. Elijah Gordon, might want to watch for him. He's 15th, but he's got damage to his race car, so if he falls back enough, that last position is going to be between Keys and Nichols. Anyways, green flag back in the air. Jonathan King with a fantastic jump on the start. On the restart, I should say. Hoffman did not get going. Here comes Jay Jefferson in the 31 to the inside of the 14 for the lead, or for second. Not for the lead quite yet, as Jonathan King is pulling away, and the yellow flag is out again. 7th time today, and Daniel Bouchard and Isaac Nichols might have gotten some damage. Blaine Keys torn up. That is the 17 of Jordan Lopez upside down. You know, the issue today has been these slow cars. That's what the problem has been. That's just what the problem has been. These slow cars, they just get in the way of these guys, and they just create such an issue. And I think finally Stuart Gratton's going to be done for the day. He should have been off the racetrack ages ago. This is not good for Daniel Bouchard. He's going to probably finish 36th. I mean, his situation is nearly identical to that of Trey Bartos, so I don't think he's going to have an issue, but that's not really what he wants heading into the final race. You got to have that momentum, and that 11's not really getting that momentum quite yet. So yeah, that's an unfortunate one for him. Hoffman did not get a good jump on that restart, but he's going to have another shot at it. He's going to be second on the last one of the race. We're going to get back to racing. Probably going to be, I say, 2 laps to go in the race, would be my guess. We're just going to have to find out. Anyways, let's quickly see what happened here to the number 11. Blaine Keys was also involved in this crash, and I think with that, Keys is going to be done. He's lapped down 31st. Blaine Keys, we know for sure, is not going to make it on to the Final Four after this one. And yes, Isaac Nichols was involved in this. I don't know if it actually happened here, however, because Bouchard came back down. Nichols almost got into him. It was actually ahead of these guys. Excuse me for missing it there. And it was, in fact, Stuart Gratton going around off the front bumper of somebody. And I think somebody else back in here slowing down. Yeah, it was Sinor and Gratton. They got into each other in the same situation under that last caution. They kind of slowed down. Jordan Lopez, we saw him go upside down. And multiple things are going on right now because you got Gratton spinning back in there. But let's follow with this. Blaine Keys, a chase driver in the 48. It's a little too hot into the corner, spinning those guys around. Richard Kingart, John Arndt, and Jordan Lopez, Alonso in the outside wall. And somehow, some way, that 17 goes upside down. Keys goes back down into Ace Garcia, comes back up as the 17 is flipping. My goodness gracious, this race has just been insane. That right there definitely paints the picture very well. Yeah, Jordan Lopez upside down in the 17, John Art and Blaine Keys. That's going to be it for his chances in making it onto the Final Four this season in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. Still a great season for him. 2 wins, his first 2 wins of his career. Great season for Blaine Keys here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series nonetheless. Real time following Stuart Gratton, and it was actually Whitlock who got into the 37. Gratton came down on Garrett Sinor, and that's why Sinor had all that damage in, and Bouchard majorly torn up as he rammed into the 37. And that is the end of the day for Daniel Bouchard. But it's not the end of his championship hopes, because he came into this race 39 points ahead. I think he's going to be good to go. And along with Trey Barto, I mean, they pretty much were good to go at the start. Legacy still in the top 10. And this time, he's not going to have all those lap-down cars ahead of him, so he may be able to gain some more positions. And Elijah Gordon's still in a good position as well. I believe he's running in the top 15, so he did not get affected by the damage he had. So Elijah Gordon, I think he's still in this. It's just down to that last position, and in all honesty, if Legacy stays where he is, it's going to be Legacy, Gordon, Barto, and Bouchard in that Final Four. And honestly, at this point, I don't think Nichols can catch up to the number 34 enough. Only a 4-point difference between those two drivers, and Nichols is all the way back in there. So at this point, it is pretty much determined what the Final Four is going to be. And it could change, but it's most likely going to be Trey Barto, Elijah Gordon, Daniel Bouchard, and Al Legacy. 2 veterans, 2 rookies. Going to mix it up pretty well on Saturday morning. Apologize about all the cautions, but we're not going to go to a commercial break. Let's see what happens on the restart here in the Castrol 500K. It'll be 3 laps to go here at the Phoenix International Raceway. And at this point, it is pretty much determined who the Final Four will be, so we're going to focus on this victory. Jonathan King, Caleb Hoffman, Jay Jefferson, Colin Driver, Noah Cars, the top 5. Hoffman in position to get his last win of his career. He doesn't want it to be Pocono. He wants it to be near the end of this season. And it's right there in front of him. Will it be one more for Hoffman? Or will it be rookie Jonathan King in victory lane for the first time in his career in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series? He's won before on Napa Fan, but not in the Cup Series. We'll see what he does. Green flag back in the air. 3 laps to go on the Castrol 500K. And Hoffman, again, did not get a good jump. And Jefferson's going to try to get to the inside of him. That's exactly what Jonathan King needs. Whereas Hoffman, I think he was closing in there a little bit on that last green flag lap. But Jefferson right to the inside of him. Hoffman will get the run on the outside, and it's not over yet. 2 to go for Jonathan King in the 33. Hoffman has cleared Jay Jefferson, and he is closing in on Jonathan King. Will, the 6th-season veteran and the all-time winningest driver in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, do it for one more time? Jonathan King trying to distance himself here, coming to the white flag in the Castrol 500K. We will get an official finish in this race, and King pulled out a little bit ahead of Hoffman, but Hoffman's going to try to close in here through this corner. I just do not see it happening. Jonathan King in the number 33. It's going to be one last chance here for the 14 of Caleb Hoffman. Will he dive it in deep? He's not going to be able to do so. Jonathan King will win his first career Chick-fil-A Cup Series race here at Phoenix. King wins the Castrol 500K, and the drivers advancing on to the final race for the championship. These 4 drivers will battle for a championship at Homestead on Saturday. Al Legacy, Trey Barto, Elijah Gordon, and even though he's not on the racetrack currently, Daniel Bouchard will, in fact, get that last position in the Final Four. Jonathan King grabs the victory at Phoenix. He holds off Caleb Hoffman. It's not over yet for Hoffman, though. He could still win Homestead. He won Homestead last season. And his final race coming up on Saturday could be a victory. But the Stewart House Racing team celebrating something else, and that's Trey Barto surviving through this race, getting into the Final Four. Of course, I will go over the point standings at the end here and show you who officially advanced on. Follow with Senor. Jonathan King, the winner of this race. Caleb Hoffman, a close second. Jay Jefferson, Noah Cars, and Ryan Madden, the top 5. The highest chase driver in the field was Al Legacy, and he would easily surpass Isaac Nichols in the points. Elijah Gordon, no issues there for him. 13th, second highest chase driver. And you got Matt Dalio is actually the 3rd highest chase driver in today's race. But considering that Barto, Bouchard, and Gordon are all going to be ahead of him in points, and so will Al Legacy, Matt Dalio is not going to be able to advance on to the Final Four for a 3rd straight season. Trey Barto is going to be his 2nd season in a row in the Final Four, so he's got a chance. Isaac Nichols, a tough one for him, had a very good season in the 83. And Blaine Keys, Marty Johnson, they just did not have good qualifying. Actually, Marty Johnson did have a good qualifying run, but he fell back early on. And for Keys and Johnson, just not the days that they were hoping for, and they're not going to advance on to the Final Four in season number 6. But it will be Trey Barto, Elijah Gordon, Daniel Bouchard, and Al Legacy. 2 rookies, 2 veterans. It's going to be pretty interesting. Will we get our first rookie champion, or will one of the veterans get it done like it normally happens here in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series? It's going to be a good Chick-fil-A 500 on Saturday morning at the Homestead Miami Speedway. And those 4 drivers will be battling hard to get the win in the championship. Anyways, let's go ahead and get the official point standings. I'll walk you through the official standings of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Season 6 after 25 races. Congratulations to Jonathan King, and let's get the official count for the Final Four. And here is how they officially stack up after the race at Phoenix. Trey Barto, Daniel Bouchard, Elijah Gordon, and Al Legacy will battle for a championship at the Homestead Miami Speedway on Saturday morning. And one of those 4 drivers will be the champion in season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. We're going to have a first-time champion. None of those drivers have won a Chick-fil-A Cup Series championship before, and the only driver in there, actually the 2 drivers in there that have won championships are Trey Barto and Elijah Gordon. Barto, the Turkey Hill Series champion from last year, and Elijah Gordon, the IROC champion from last year. And Elijah Gordon, he's already in IROC, but he wants to take a position away from another driver, possibly getting into IROC, because if he's the Chick-fil-A Cup Series champion, nobody else from the Chick-fil-A Cup Series is going to get an IROC bid. So let's keep that in mind there. I mean, I don't know how many y'all care about IROC, but it's still a thing. It exists. It exists. Anyways, Trey Barto, Bouchard, Gordon, and Legacy, the 4 drivers. Isaac Nichols, Matt Dalio, Blaine Keys, and Marty Johnson. Unfortunately, unable to qualify for the Final Four. And when Nichols was involved in that one crash, he just did not have the chance. I'll go ahead and show you the points over here, if you can line it up. Because I don't really want to stretch it, because it looks funny when you stretch it. But you get the gist there. I'm going to make sure you guys see these points, and so that you know that I accurately put them in. So yeah. Anyways, congratulations to Trey Barto, Daniel Bouchard, Elijah Gordon, and Al Legacy. One of those 4 drivers will be your champion in season number 6 of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series. And the Chick-fil-A 500 will be Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Check it out then. It's going to be a good race. Better than this one. Won't have as many crashes, I can guarantee you that. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. Congratulations to Jonathan King on his victory here today. And congratulations to our 4 drivers advancing on to the final round of the Chick-fil-A Cup Series Chase. It's going to be the last season we're going to have this style of format. So these drivers, they got something extra special coming to them. If they win this championship, they're going to be the last champion under this format. And those 4 drivers definitely want to do it. And we're also going to see Caleb Hoffman retire at the end of Saturday's race. Definitely want to watch for that as well, as he might possibly get a victory on Saturday, as he won that race last year. But anyways, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see you guys later.